learn how to make this super cute bandana design. That was a request from one of my followers. So this was our very first bandana design. It was made of the plain mesh stitch, and someone requested for something that's made of the V-stitch, so I had to come up with something made of the V-stitch, but something more interesting and cute. So let's get started. The materials that you'll need are yarn, a crochet hook, which is a 4mm crochet hook. The yarn that I'm using is Alize Cotton Gold, which is 55% cotton, 45% acrylic, and then a darning needle and a pair of scissors. That's basically it. If you hear any noise in the background, sorry for that. I am recording next to the main road, so you'll be hearing some trucks and some bikes passing by, but I'll try my best to be as audible as possible. So this is the finished product. You can see how the stitch looks very lacy and interesting, and I'll be having it here just for reference purposes so that I can refer to it and get the same exact results. So we are starting off with a magic ring. I'm going to explain how to make a magic ring. There are some people who are very biased in that when a project starts with a magic ring, they just switch off. So we are going to hold our yarn like this, wrap it around 2 fingers, insert our hook and grab the working yarn and hold. Just hold there, like that. And then we are going to make a chain of 1 just to close off the magic ring so that it doesn't keep opening and closing. So after closing off the magic ring, we are going to start off with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you have your 4 chains, you're going to go into the magic ring with 1 double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet. So we want a total of 7 double crochets, and this chain 4 at the beginning counts as 1 double crochet, chain 1. That means right now we have a total of 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. We want a total of 7 double crochets. So chain 1, this is the 4th. If you feel like your magic ring is too big, you're going to pull on the tail so that it becomes a little bit smaller and easier to work with. So we have 4 double crochets so far. Chain 1, 5 double crochets, chain 1, 6 double crochets, chain 1, and 7 double crochets. So we so far have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 double crochets. And once you get your 7 double crochets, you're going to pull on the tail of the magic ring and close it off entirely. We shall weave it in later on. Don't cut it because it will unravel your work when you're done with your project. So shall weave it in later on. So we have a total of 7 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So we're going on to row 2. Row 2 is going to start off with a chain of 3. Turn your work. So you can see this is the base of the triangle. The tip of the triangle is going to be around this area, and this is the base. So from here, you're going to go into the very first chain 1 space and place a V-stitch. So you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space. For this pattern, a V-stitch is 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. So from here, after this, you're going to go into the next chain 1 space and you're going to place a V-stitch. So 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet. This is what you should have. Then from here, you're going to skip over the next double crochet, skip the next chain 1 space, and into the next double crochet, you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 5, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact stitch. So this one, this big V stitch is placed into a stitch, not in the chain 1 space. So it's placed in a stitch. So from here, you're going to skip over that next chain one space, skip the next double crochet, and into the next chain one space, you're going to place a V-stitch. So that's one double crochet, chain one, and one more double crochet. And then from here, you're going to skip the next stitch and go into the last chain four space, placing a small V-stitch. I've noticed that this pattern has two V-stitches, the small one and the big one. So the small one is this one that creates one double crochet, chain one double crochet. And then the big V-stitch is this one that creates one double crochet, chain 5, and one more double crochet. That one creates a big V-stitch. So we've just placed a small V-stitch. Sorry, there's a knot here that may get a little bit confusing, but we have a small V-stitch in the last chain 4 space, and then you're going to go into the same exact space with one more double crochet to end up your row. So this is what you should have at the end of row 2. Let's go on to row 3. Row 3 is going to start off with a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn your work. So that chain of 4 counts as a double crochet, chain 1. And then you're going to skip over the next double crochet and go into the first V-stitch and place a small V-stitch, which is one double crochet, chain 1, one double crochet. And then go into the next small V-stitch and place a small V-stitch. One double crochet, chain 1, one double crochet. And then when you have 2 stitches left to the chain 5 space, as you can see here, when you have 2 stitches, 2 double crochets left to get to the chain 5 space, you're going to prepare for a double crochet, skip those 2 stitches and go into the chain 5 space. And you're going to place 5 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So this is 1, chain 1, 2, chain 1, 3, chain 1, 4, chain 1, and 5. So once you have your 5 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces, once you place your 5th, you're going to prepare for a double crochet, skip the next 2 stitches, the next 2 double crochets, and then go into the chain 1 space of the small V-stitch and place a small V-stitch, which is one double crochet, chain 1, one double crochet. So this is what you should have. So from here, you're going to go into the next V-stitch and place a small V-stitch. So each small V-stitch gets a small V-stitch. Just keep that in mind. So from here, after placing your V-stitch into the last V-stitch, you're going to make a chain of 1, skip the next stitch and go on top of the chain 3 at the edge of the row and place 1 double crochet there. So this is what you should have at row 3. So this is an odd row, which is row 3, and row 4 we are going to do something different a bit. Row 4, you're going to start off with a chain of 3, turn your work, go into the very first chain 1 space. After a chain of 3, turn your work, go into the first chain 1 space and place a small V-stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, one more double crochet. So this is how the row begins, row 4. And this is how our even rows are going to look like. So chain 3, turn, 1 small V-stitch into the very first chain 1 space. Go into the next V-stitch with 1 small V-stitch. Remember I told you each small V-stitch gets a small V-stitch. Then after this, you're going to go into the next V-stitch, the next small V-stitch with a small V-stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. And then when it comes to these 5 stitches that you placed in the big V-stitch, you're going to work the small V-stitches until you get to these stitches in the middle of the big V-stitch. And you're going to go into the very first V-stitch with a small V-stitch. Just like that. So the very first space of the 5 stitches. And then from here, you're going to skip the next double crochet, skip the next chain 1 space, and go into the next stitch with 1 double crochet, chain 5, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact stitch. So this will create another big V-stitch. So the big V-stitches are created on the even rows. You can see it here and you can see it here, at row 2 and at row 4. So when you're done with that, prepare for a double crochet by yarning over, and then you're going to skip over the next chain 1 space, skip the next stitch, and then place a small V-stitch into the next chain 1 space. Just like that. And then continue to place small V-stitches in each small V-stitch until towards the end of the row. So when you place your last small V-stitch into the last small V-stitch of the previous row, you're only left with the chain 4 space. You're going to prepare for a double crochet and go into that chain 4 space with a small V-stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, and then you're going to place 1 more double crochet into the same space to wind up your row, and this is what you will have. This marks the end of row 4. Row 5, we are going to just do the same exact thing as we did for row 3, because the even rows are the same and the odd rows are the same. So that means row 5 resembles row 3. So you start off with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, turn your work, skip the next stitch and go into the very first small V-stitch and place a small V-stitch there. Then continue to place 1 small V-stitch in each small V-stitch until you have 2 stitches to the chain 5 space. So this is the level at which you should be. So you have 2 stitches to the chain 5 space. So you're going to prepare for a double crochet and go into the chain 5 space with a total of 5 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So this is the second one, third, fourth, and fifth. So once you have your 5 double crochets placed into the chain 5 space, you're going to prepare for a double crochet by yarning over, and then you're going to skip over 2 stitches and into the next chain 1 space you're going to place a small V-stitch. And then continue to place a small V-stitch in each small V-stitch. The V-stitches are placed in the chain 1 spaces of the V-stitch from the row below. So continue until you place your last V-stitch in the last V-stitch of the previous row. So this is what you should have. And then you're going to make a chain of 1. When you place your last V-stitch into the last V-stitch of the previous row, you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over 1 stitch, and go on top of the chain 3 at the end of the row with 1 double crochet. So that marks the end of row 5. And this is what you should have. Now we are going to repeat rows 4 and 5. Row 4 and 5 again and again, and you're going to see your triangular shape spreading out. As you can see, this, your triangle is going to keep growing without these details. Of course, I'll teach you how to do this later on, but at this point we are here. Okay, we are here at row 5, and this is how beautiful our work is looking like. You can see how everything looks the same. So you're going to go ahead and keep repeating rows 4 and 5, and I'll meet you back and let you know how many rows that I did for my actual bandana, and then we shall pick it up from there. Alright guys, so I ended up doing a total of 19 rows, and this is the row that creates that fan stitch in the very big V-stitch. So I have a total of 19 rows. Just to cross check, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And the 19th row is the one that starts with a chain of 4 and ends with a chain of 1 and 1 double crochet into the top of the very last chain 3 of the previous row. So this marks the end of row 19, and we've ended on an odd row. So whatever you do, if you're to grow your panel to be bigger, just make sure you end on row 19. So we're going on to row 20, and this is going to be the very final row of the bandana, and it's going to create an edging on this side, this slanting edge, and the slanting edge on the opposite side. So we're going to create the final edge here, and then later on we shall make the straps, clean up the edges at the base of the triangle, and then create the strap on this other side as well. So what we are going to do is make a chain of 1 and turn our work. So into the very first chain 1 space, you're going to place 1 single crochet, chain 4, and then slip stitch into the 2 loops, the 2 front loops of the single crochet. Just slip stitch there, and then single crochet again into the same space. So we are creating this beautiful picot stitch. From here into the V stitch, you're going to place 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet into the same space. So this makes a total of 2 single crochets, chain 4, slip stitch into the 2 loops facing you, the 2 loops of the single crochet facing you, then single crochet again into the same space. So let's go into the next V stitch. So 2 single crochets, create the spike stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch into the single crochet below, and then single crochet into the same space. So we are going to go all the way across until the top of our triangle. Doing this, we're just creating that spike stitch into the V stitches. So 2 single crochets, chain 4, slip stitch into the 2 loops of the single crochet facing you, and then single crochet into the same space. So skip over the next 2 stitches and go into the chain 1 space of the next V stitch and place 2 single crochets, chain 4, slip stitch, single crochet into the same space. So this is what we are creating. We are creating that spike stitch, and we are going to be considering this side as the right side of the bandana because that's where the spike stitch is more evident, and the spikes are popping out more on this side than this side. So we're going to go all the way up and when we get here, I'll show you what to do next. Alright guys, so we've moved all the way from down here all the way up, and you can see how evenly placed these spikes are and how beautiful the edge is compared to this plain one. So we're going to cross over, and the way to do that, we're going to still go ahead and do the same exact thing in these V-stitches, just like we've been doing before. So one single crochet, another single crochet, chain 4, slip stitch into the single crochet, and then single crochet again into the same space. But this time we don't have 2 single crochets in between, so we're just going to go into the next V-stitch and do the same exact thing. Okay, and then go into the next. So we're going into the chain 1 spaces, don't forget that. When you get to this point, you're just going to create the spike stitch in each and every chain 1 space. So until you get to that point where you have 2 stitches to the next V-stitch, to the next chain 1 space. So this is not a V-stitch and it's not a chain 1 space. So that means we've crossed over from this side all the way to this side. So we are going to go ahead and continue to create the spike stitch or the picot stitch on this edge as well. So just go ahead and do the same exact thing that we've been doing on this side in every chain 1 space of the V-stitch, of each V-stitch along this side, and I'll meet you back when we're coming to the end of the row. Alright guys, so this is what your work will look like after working on this side and this side. So we're coming to the end of the second side. And then into the chain 4 space, you're going to place 1 single crochet, chain 4, and slip stitch at the base of the single crochet, and single crochet again into the same exact space. So this marks the end of the picot stitch or the spike stitch that we had to do on this end and this end, as I had explained earlier on. So we're going onto the base as well as the straps of the bandana. So I want to make something that is not so thin. So what we shall do is make a chain of 3 and single crochet into the same exact chain 4 space, like that, and then chain 3, single crochet in between the 2 stitches below. So right now we are creating the length of the strap. Chain 3, single crochet in between the 2 stitches below. Alright, so I've made a total of 20 segments for my bandana on one side for my strap. And from here, I'm going to go back on the strap so that I come back to the bottom edge of the bandana. So this is what it looks like. So when you have the number of segments that you need, you're going to make a chain of 3 and then go into the very first space with 1 single crochet, just like that, and then chain 3, go into the next space with 1 single crochet. So we're making our straps a little bit thicker, but going back to the body of the bandana. So this is what we have. So here we are coming back to the body of the bandana. I'm placing my last single crochet into the very first segment of the strap, and this is how our strap is going to look like. So from here we are going to work on the bottom edge of the bandana. This is the one that lays flat at the front of the head when you're wearing your bandana, so we don't want anything dramatic there. So I'm going to still make a chain of 3 and go into the very first row of the bandana and place 1 single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. So we have 3 double crochets, and then skip 1 row, and into the next row we're going to place a single crochet, and then chain 3, 3 more double crochets into the same exact row, like that. Skip 1 row, and into the next row you're going to place a single crochet. So this is the edge that we are going to have at the base of our bandana. So from here, chain 3, 3 more double crochets into the same exact space, skip 1 row and single crochet into the next row. So we're going to repeat that. This is going to create some sort of scallops, but also enhance that row that starts with a chain of 4, and it's going to create those holes and make them more prominent or more visible, as you can see here. So just go all the way across until you come to the middle section of the bandana, and I'll show you what to do next. So we're coming to the middle section of the bandana, and I am going into the next row after skipping a row. I will place a single crochet there. This is the very last row before the exact middle. So what we are going to do is, as you can see here, we've been placing the scallops into the chain 4 spaces, or that space there. Now we're going to go into this space and still create a scallop. 1, 2 and 3 into that space, and then you're going to go into the next row and place a single crochet there, and then chain 3 and 3 more double crochets to make a total of 4 double crochets, and then skip 1 row and go into the next chain 4 space with 1 single crochet. So this is what we've done in the exact middle. We've created a scallop in the last row on this half and in the first row of this half of the bandana. So we're going to just go all the way across and continue to create scallops, just like we've been doing on this side. So chain 3, 3 more double crochets into the same exact space, skip 1 row and 1 single crochet into the next row. So repeat that all the way across, and I'll meet you back towards the end of the row. So as you can see, we are still enhancing the chain 4 space on this side, just like we have here. So let's finish up and create our second strap on the opposite side. Alright, so we're coming to the end of the base of the triangle. I'm skipping 1 row, and into the last row of the bandana I'm placing 1 single crochet, and then chain 3, 3 more double crochets into the same exact row, and then I'll create a single crochet into the single crochet row, the one that creates the spike stitch. I will place a single crochet there. So we are done with the base of the triangle, and we've created our scallops there. So what we are going to do next is we're going to start creating our strap. So make a chain of 3 and go into that space where you place the last single crochet of the scallop row and place a double crochet. Then chain 3, double crochet in between the 2 stitches below, and make the same exact segments that we had on this side. So I did a total of 20 segments on this side. I'm going to go ahead and make the same exact segments on this side as well, just to balance what we have. So these are 4. I'm continuing until I have the same number of segments, which is 20 that I did on the other side. This is the second strap. Alright guys, now we have a total of 20 segments, and we're going to go back on that strap just like we did the first one. Make a chain of 3 and then single crochet into the first space, chain 3, single crochet into the next space, just like that, to make our strap a little bit thicker. Alright, so we're coming back to the body of the bandana, and after placing a single crochet into the very first segment, you'll make 3 chains, and into that space where the single crochet is, you're going to make a slip stitch, make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through. So this marks the end of our bandana. We have both straps, as you can see here, very pretty, decent and thick straps. Then we have our edges ready that have the spike stitch, and then we have the scallops at the base of the bandana. And yeah, so this is what everything looks like. I can't get it on frame. I can't get all of it on frame when stretched out, but this is what our bandana looks like. And now we're going to get our darning needle, and we're going to weave in all our ends. We have a few ends to weave in. I think they're around 2 or 3. So just grab your ends and weave them in properly. I don't have my pair of scissors here, so I'll be able to cut off the ends later on, but for the most part, this bandana is ready. And this marks the end of this tutorial. Let me know down in the comment section what you think about the stitch, how everything turned out. These are the straps that are going to wrap at the back of your head. Something like this. You can make a knot. So this is how everything is looking like. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did. And I will see you again in my next video. Bye. Thanks for watching.